Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, president of Trident Concepts, and today I'm here with Brownells Daily Defense to talk to you about EDC in the workplace, defining what that really looks like. So, we know what EDC stands for, everyday carry. But how do you carry every day if part of that is going to be at a workplace? So we got to back up a little bit and review, if you will, what the EDC kind of parameters were. It's an 80% rule, basically, which means that 80% of the year, you're trying to carry a firearm. Now, when we factor in the number of weeks that the average American worker works, you're going to find that it's substantial. And as a result, it makes it really hard to manage that everyday carry when we have to factor in the workday. So a couple of things that we talk about is if you happen to work in an environment that is friendly and conducive and opening to carrying a firearm, well, then that's great. That's awesome. You really have a pretty decent setup there. But you might work in a workplace that allows firearms, but they want them to be very discreet. And that is where it becomes challenging because now you have to be discreet with a different type of wardrobe. When we also take into considerations social conditions, that's where the wardrobe comes into the equation. Because most workplaces are going to have some type of uniform. Now, sometimes that uniform can be somewhat casual, jeans and a t-shirt, that could be the uniform. Other places, it can actually be more formal, coat and tie, at least sports coat and slacks. So you're going to have to try to factor in your social conditions as they affect your wardrobe. Once we kind of move over to an environment that is a non-permissive environment, meaning that it strictly forbids you carrying firearms, I really encourage you to think cautiously about trying to conceal in those environments. And the reason behind that is that time is working against you. If you're looking at a career in this particular company organization, you're really going to find yourself rolling the dice and just eventually you're going to roll snake eyes where you're going to get caught. Somebody's going to see something or recognize something. They're going to start paying more attention. Before you know it, you're going to get called into a supervisor's meeting and be addressed as far as potentially violating some sort of company policy. And what I try to encourage you to do is to always consider this, that you want to maintain the lowest profile possible. You do not want to attract attention because attention will lead to scrutiny, and scrutiny will eventually lead to discovery. And when you have time working against you there, it's a tough call. But I get it, I understand. Several people can be the victim of violence or a violent act, a violent criminal act. Several people can have to be dealing with an unpleasant situation such as potentially a stalker. So all of these situations have to be factored in, and you're going to have to make the best choice for you and your family. And that's what I'm trying to illustrate, is that you don't really do your family any good by trying to carry into the workplace, getting caught, losing your job, or possibly worse, going to jail. So really factor all of that into your thought process. What it eventually leads us to is that the primary firearm that we like to carry on the weekends is probably not going to be the firearm that I carry in the workplace. Should I have the opportunity to carry, I'm probably going to have to be way more discreet about my firearm selection, which means that I'm probably going to be looking at the backup gun that I had my eye on or was thinking this might fill that need. And as we get to a certain point, that backup gun potentially could become your new primary when you factor in the number of hours you're going to be at work. Your idea behind this being the backup gun that you maybe carry every now and then, now all of a sudden you realize, wow, I potentially could be carrying this a lot more. So when we start talking about our backup guns and the wardrobe restrictions that we're dealing with, we're looking at some unconventional methods for carrying. What I mean by that is methods off of our waistband. The first ones that we talk about are pocket holsters. They're great. The problem with pocket holsters is that slacks typically are made with a very light material, and even in a pocket holster, inside of the pocket, it still can potentially print. The nice thing about front and back pockets is that the back pocket is typically a little bit thicker, and it's generally away from the average conversation point, the point of view, if you will. The other potential scenario might be an ankle holster. An ankle holster is a great solution, but you got to keep in mind that if you sit in an office space regularly, the chances are that the hem of your pants will rise up and potentially telegraph the fact that you have an ankle holster on. So you have to be thoughtful about that. When we go into like a deep cover mode, that means that it's inside of our wardrobe. So that could be a holster shirt, shirts specifically designed as undershirts that have pockets or locations that you can place a small frame firearm. And then of course there's the belly bands, which fit around our waistline, and the design behind them is for all of our wardrobe to be tucked in so that it's deeply concealed. I will always advise everybody that carrying concealed is a balance between access and concealability. When you give up one, you might gain a little bit on the other side, but it's always give and take. So think about that as you're looking to consider possibly carrying in the workplace and what that really means. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to post them down below. Until then, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. Take care and stay safe.